Hi, it's Scott Beck from Scott on Security, a co-star on the Amazon Prime documentary Cybercrime and a two-time best-selling author. And I want to thank you for your comments and messages that you sent to me personally from Friday's session. Man, I got really fired up about it because it was something I'm quite concerned about. A couple of dirty little secrets about the IT industry that need to be exposed. And I got some great feedback. I got a little bit of feedback too about some people not happy that I told the secrets. And if you didn't see it, just go back in the series and maybe check it out. You're going to be surprised by what you find. So last week I was out meeting with some business people. And it was just kind of a casual conversation, and I happened to just mention ransomware. And I was a little bit surprised by the amount of people that weren't aware what ransomware is. Now, granted, being in the IT security end of things, I've been kind of dealing with this ransomware thing for 6-7 years, but it's been in the news a lot, and I would have thought more people were aware and were new of the risks. And I realized, okay, I got to do some sessions about ransomware. Let's get that awareness level back up. So, one time, a well-known literary expert, someone that writes books and stuff, and asked his agent, what was the most profitable thing he could write? And the agent kind of jokingly said, a ransom note. And if you stop and think about it, it's kind of true. You don't have to write a great big long story. It can be short, and you get a lot of money for it. Well, fast forward many years, and in the IT space, guess what? We've dealt with viruses for years and years and years. Usually they were more for a pain in the butt. But somebody figured out how to digitalize the crime of ransom, of kidnapping. Except this time they're not going to be kidnapping your kids or a relative. They're kidnapping your data. And that's what ransomware is all about. It's a virus that gets into your computer, and basically it locks your files so that you can't use them. And you'll get notified by the hackers, and it'll say, hey, I've seen some be as brazen as, welcome to the family. Hey, listen, dude, it's not a part of the family that we wanted to be part of. But anyways, they'll send a message saying, hey, your files have been locked, pay us money, and we'll give you access back to your files. Now, there's a couple of problems with this. Just the same as ransom in the real world. Sometimes the bad guys kill the hostage. And we're now seeing trends of 2 to 3 times out of 5, depending on which law enforcement entity you're reading and taking of. But 2 to 3 times out of 5, you pay the ransom, and the bad guys don't give you back your files anyways. You're still out of luck. And stop and think about it for a second. It kind of makes sense. They're bad enough that they've infected your computer and locked the files and said, pay me or else. But now you're hoping because you paid them, they're going to be nice enough to give you your files back. Well, there's a couple of trains of thoughts around that. For a business model, they want to make sure to give you your files back, so people will keep paying them, and that's possible. Or they could be in it for a quick buck, and they got your files, and now they got your money, and they really don't care, and they move on. And one of the things that makes ransomware so interesting to the bad guys is you have to pay them in something called Bitcoin. And I'm not going to get into all that right now. That could be another whole section we could talk about. But it's an online digital currency, and it's just the same as if you're going to go buy a US dollar. You take your money, you convert it into a currency that you can pay the bad guys, and the reason they like it is really hard to trace. There's no banking rules around it. It's like the wild, wild west when it comes to money transfers. So they really like this Bitcoin or digital payments. So this is what ransomware is all about. If you get hit by it and you don't have adequate protections to get through it, you could be at the mercy of these bad guys, of these hackers. And at the mercy of hoping that they're going to be kind enough that should you pay them, that they'll give you your data back. In this day and age, anybody, you can pretty much digitalize any form of crime. And I think that'd be another good conversation to have at some point, because some of the stuff that the bad guys have been able to do have been crazy, just crazy. When you see it, it's nuts. But so for those of you that don't know what ransomware is, that's what it is. Just like the name says, instead of holding your family's hostage, they're going to hold your data hostage, and they don't care whether it's personal or if it's a business. And I've heard people say, well, Scott, nobody's going to want to look at my files. What do they care? They really don't. but they do know that you care about your files. Maybe you will spend the money to get all your family pictures back that you didn't have backed up at home. If you're a business, they suspect that you're gonna pay a lot of money so that your business can run. I mean, as a business owner, can you actually operate without access to your data? And how long? What if it's all gone? Well, the bad guys know that you need that data. And as I said, some of them actually care about having it. Some of them, they don't. They're just locking it. They send this stuff out hoping that someone's going to infect it. It's like they're throwing a big net and they're just pulling in whatever they can catch and turning it for a buck. Not a bad business model, I guess. For those of us with morals, not great. But for the bad guys, it's working out really well for them to the tune of billions. That's with a B. Billions of dollars that ransomware is generating for the hackers. Well, tomorrow we're going to talk about some different variations in the progression of ransomware from when it first hit to what's happening now and some of the new tweaks that are happening. So I'm hoping that you're going to join me for that. We're going to be talking about ransomware most of the week. And there's some really interesting things that come out of it, and not just from a techie point of view. Some like, really? They can do that? That's kind of, well, interesting, actually. It's interesting how they're playing on human nature. So we're going to continue that discussion tomorrow. So now you know what ransomware is. Tomorrow we're going to talk more about the progression of it. And as I like to say, stay safe out there.